Alright everyone, thanks for tuning back in. Pats Nation here with another season recap and off-season outlook. So this is for my main league, I like to call it, as I am the New England Patriots in it. I am admin / assistant commissioner in this league. I help out and do some shit and everything. Other than that, this is going to be a lot like my 4th and 1 Raiders season recap, off-season outlook video, where I just kind of talk about how the season went, what my plans were, and how they turned out, and then what my plans are for the future, and just kind of run it down position by position outlook, what I want to do in the off-season, draft stuff, and talk about the season in general and what my optimisms are. So, as I said last video, I made it to the AFC Championship game. I played that this morning at about 9 a.m. Central Time and got my butt whooped. Jimmy G fumbled 3 times in the first half, benched him, but I'll get into that later. Basically just got manhandled again, so I just choked in both my leagues in the AFC Championship game, so yay me. I get to have the bitter defeat of 2 conference title losses in back-to-back days that'll linger. But, which you'll see with the circumstances, I was pretty fortunate to make it that far. I will say that. But, anyways, let's get into the recap. So, go right in here. Schedule. No, not playoffs. My fault. Steelers and Giants made the Super Bowl. They played today, but they got desynced. They're playing again. Preseason, yeah, whatever, don't matter. So, regular season opened up against the Buffalo Bills. Okay, that was a good opener. I'll actually just show you this. They had a rookie, Baker Mayfield. We imported regular rookies. 1 touchdown, 5 picks. My defense dominated. AP fumbled, shocker, and that got him back in the game. Where is the... Yeah, AP fumbled. Deion Lewis fumbled twice. I don't know where he is. Maybe he didn't get a carry? Yeah, there he is. 2 fumbles, 1. So I fumbled 4 times. So that really hurt. I'm not going to get into too many games like this. That's just, this is, as you can see at the top of our screen, xFOMFxPatsNation, xFOMFx Super Salad. So that, there's a bit of a rivalry going on there. Then I played the Jaguars. He's the actual commissioner, Wheezy, and we had a good game. I got up on him. I'll go into this game too. As you can see in the score there, he scored 16 in the 4th to bring it into overtime. I was up. That touchdown in the 3rd quarter he had with the 2-point. He got that after my 6. So I was up 26-10 at one point. I played the Jets. Widge is a guy I always have good battles with. Then I lost to the Bears. The 5 games played, Madden was being screwy as always. That one was a sim. No, we actually finished that one. I was winning when we desynced all 4 times, then the 5th time when we didn't desync, he won. Ironic how that works. Next is the Dolphins. They're CPU now, but that was another FOMFX person, Big Tuna, and shout out. And played 1 close game. Going to the bye week. Played the Raiders, got a solid dub. Titans got another solid dub. Sorry about that. I just got a connection error. I'll be checking that here and there just to make sure it's still going. Again, I apologize for that. So anyways, Titans won convincingly. They're not CPU. They are now. They weren't at the time when I played them. Lions won significantly, convincingly. Dolphins, another close nail biter by 3. Took the Jets. I went on a huge win streak here. Put the whoop on the Texans, put the beat down on the Colts. Yeah, I got that Bills game. We were up. I was up at both desyncs, and then we simmed because we couldn't get it. And of course, I lost the sim. You know, why not? Why wouldn't I lose the sim? But whatever. I'll get over it. Next, Vikings. Gotta win. Gotta win against the Packers here, and then finish the season out with the Cleveland Browns victory against the Cleveland Browns. Or a loss, sorry, loss. That would have secured me the number 3 seed. Of course, I choke against the Browns, and I get stuck with the 4th seed. It's whatever, you know. Make do with what I get, I guess. But, so then I roll into the postseason. I play my division rival, the Bills. I'll get into these games a little bit here. First off, by the time this game rolls in, Rob Gronkowski is out, done for the year, broken collarbone. He had, prior to this year, 2 straight seasons of 123 plus catches, 1,500 plus yards, 15 touchdowns or more. So he was just a dominant force. Missed the last 3. He got hurt against the Vikings. You know, the game, I think there was only 2 games after that. So that would be, what, week 15? Got hurt the first quarter. Finished with 99 catches, like 1,300, 1,400 yards, and 12 touchdowns. So on pace again for another great year till he got hurt. Jeremy Hill, Cincinnati Bengals, acquired him in a trade. I acquired them from the Cincinnati Bengals. And he got hurt twice during the year. Got out for the remainder of the year. Dion Lewis, my main, third down go-to back, out for the season. Sean Lee, a linebacker I acquired from the Dallas Cowboys in the offseason just when I switched to a 3-4, out for the season. So I was missing 4 or 5 key guys heading into the playoffs. So keep that in mind when you see these low scores. My defense, hung in. Jimmy G had a good game, held Baker Mayfield in check. Sammy Watkins, these numbers are inflated. He's cheese. He had like 2 mega, glitching, in front of the DB, and then a tip ball fall into his hands near the end of the game. You can check that stream out. I think it's one of the first streams I have. It's the HPL wildcard, Bills vs. Pats. Really good game. If you ever get bored and have time to watch it. So, I was pretty solid. Then I roll against the Broncos. They weren't computer. The user dropped out because it's MLB The Show time. This was a hell of a battle. I got up in the first half. Basically all my points were in the first half. I got up 17-6 at half. Then he ended up scoring, in the fourth quarter, and the defense held. I just controlled the ball. I was able to move the ball whenever I wanted, really. Turnovers killed me in this game. This is when my turnover bug came back. Threw 3 picks. Wasn't happy. Took some sacks. Wasn't too happy, but, with Gronk out, I was forced to go from my traditional 2 tight end sets to a lot more 11 personnel, just like I had to do in the 4th and 1 franchise with Oakland. So when I get out of my comfort zone with a lot of injuries, it does, fluctuate my offense a bit, where I had to go a lot more 3-4 wide sets. And then the greatest game ever that I played, the AFC Championship game. As you can see, it was relatively close, especially in the second half. So I won the second half. No, I didn't. Sorry, I lied. I was 3 points behind in the second half. But I'll show you these stats. Forget the Steelers. I threw 7 interceptions. Garoppolo had 3 picks thrown. Brissett threw 1 pick 6. Leidner, 2 of his weren't really, one was a Hail Mary before the end of the half, and the other one was a tip. So that's not horrible. But then you look at this fumbles. Jimmy G fumbled 3 times and lost 2 of them, so I had 9 turnovers. I collapsed. I had an awful game. I got my ass beat, I'm not going to lie. AP had a decent game. Wolotarski, it was sad. Darren Waller and Doxson had good games, but who gives a shit? I got my ass stomped. It's as simple as that. So, recapping the season, I set my goal to make it to the conference title game. Because last year I lost in the wild card to the Bills. The year before I made it to the divisional round and lost to the Bengals. So I'm glad I made it this far, especially with all these injuries. Had Gronk. Jeremy Hill, Sean Lee, Dion Lewis. You know, had all those guys been there, maybe I win, maybe I do, but I don't know if those guys make that much of a difference against the Steelers. Maybe I win more significantly. Maybe I get the 3rd seed where I'm not playing this. I don't know, where it's a different route. Whatever it is, I'm overall happy with the way my season turned out. 12-4 during the regular season, went 2-1 in the postseason. So I finished 14-5, came in 2nd place in the AFC, 3rd or 4th place in the league, depending on how you want to look at it. So I'm happy. I go home happy. Even though I lost, I'm okay with how everything worked out. Now, I will go through my roster now and give kind of the rundown of my roster and then the off-season look. I'll go roster first, then off-season. So as you can see all these damn injuries signed by Gronk. I'll show you his stats, though, real quick. I don't like to get into this, but those stats there, those are pretty incredible for a tight end. I like to utilize the tight end. This is what I get, you know, when I have a solid tight end, even though Gronk's pretty damn more than just solid. Anyway, so Jimmy G, I have him on a good contract. You know, I've upped him pretty good, progressed him well. Jacoby Brissett, he's gone, so I need a new backup. Although Mitch Leidner, yes, I'm a Golden Gopher fan. Yes, I had Mitch Leidner. He's done solid as a 3rd string. There's been times where I've put him instead of Brissett in blowouts, just because I really like what he can do. He's, you know, his stats aren't that great, or his ratings aren't that great, but that 80 short, 78 mid, with an 81 throw on the run and 70 awareness and 90 throw power, like, that's not that bad. You know, I don't really wind it up and chuck it 50 yards downfield a whole lot. I like to stay in that, you know, 25 and under range. And those ratings, you know, are pretty good for it. So I'm okay with him. Not as a true backup yet, but he's still got 2 years left on his deal for me to work that up. And he's probably one of the better 3rd strings you could possibly have. I'm open to bringing back Brissett, but I don't know. There's something about him it doesn't feel right. He's got a good throw power, but he doesn't do it. Okay, so getting off topic here. Back last year, after Brady retired, the first year without him, Jimmy broke his collarbone in Game 3. He was on a rampage. Garoppolo finished with like 20 touchdowns, 7 picks in like 8 games. So Brissett had to come in and play, and he had 12 touchdowns, 19 picks, 2,200 yards. Now, that's not awful, I'd say. I mean, he played okay. You know, he won me, 5 games. He was like a 73 overall at the time. You know, didn't really run for much. So he did fine in his, in the absence, but those 9 picks, it was like 8-2, and he just kind of collapsed, and, Jimmy came back, won the starting job, got him a nice contract. Moving on to running backs. I signed AP to be a 1-2 punch. AP had like 400 yards. Hill had like 300. He was hurt quite a bit. My run game was awful. You can see I had 6 running backs on my roster by the time, Rodney Smith, another gopher, he was a practice squad. So I had 5 on my roster, and I still sucked. AP is going to be released in the offseason, most likely, if he doesn't retire. He's just done. His speed's going to drop. Everything's going to drop. That carrying's going to drop. And I'd rather focus on Hill, Lewis White, and Linton, and then draft a rookie or bring in a free agent. I'd rather focus on that than have AP there. He did well in certain situations, but he just wasn't getting it done. So Hill was my starter. He was in, a lot of them. AP got about... When Hill was there, Hill got about 10 carries, 10 to 12 carries. AP got about 5 or 6. Lewis got about 2. James White I signed mid-season, so that's why his contract's pretty high. And then Linton's my project power back. So that's how it works. I run the same scheme. I like big power backs. I like my backs, the high trucking, high carrying, decent juke move. That's what I look for in my backs. I like that. I feel that's the best chance to elude defenders and break tackles and pick up extra yards. Fullback, that's good. I like my fullbacks. Devlin's a solid fullback. He's not fast, but he does his job, and he always gets extra yards on the flat routes, fullback dives. the occasional fullback screen. He just always moves forward. And that's what I love about my fullback. He's dependable, reliable, and he's just a fighter. So I really like Devlin. I'm going to look for a new one because I think he's got one more year on his contract. I'll just double check so I'm giving you accurate information. Yeah, so 2019 is going to be done, so I think he's got one more year left. So after that, so I'm going to look for his replacement, basically. Acquired in a trade. He's got another year. Julian Edelman. I'm going to cut him just to save the $3.9 million in cap space. I want to bring him back, but the reason I'm considering not, Devontae Adams is my number 2. He's my fly, my kind of how I used whatever the hell his name is, not Linton, Sharp with the Raiders, the number 2 guy at the Raiders. I use Doxson more like I do Mari Cooper. And then Wolodarski, this guy was a 68 overall. He got 39 or 30, no, he got 33,000 XP. And now he's got, catching was 80. So I boost possession receiver. 6 feet tall, 222 pounds, 89 speed. This is literally like Bill Belichick. Like Belichick would get an erection looking at this guy right now. He was my kick and punt returner and my 4th string receiver. Actually, he was my 5th string, starting up and then bumped up to 4th in the playoffs when I progressed him. Demarcus Robinson, I signed 2 years ago to be a 3rd string guy because I didn't think I'd be able to overhaul it. And he's got good stats, but he's just so low on the depth chart. So I got too many receivers right now. That's why I'm considering releasing Edelman. And then Taylor Mincy's my project guy. I drafted him in the 6th round, and he's turned into a brilliant prospect. So see, I got a ton of depth, and I don't know what to do with it. That's my big quest in the offseason, is figure out what the hell to actually do with these receivers. Next, I have Joseph Gels. He was I kept 7 receivers on the roster. Those first guys, other than Cody down there, they were all on my roster. So he was my other returner. So he got a nice chunk of XP. He's my fastest receiver, actually, other than Mincy on my roster. So, he's good in and his catching's good. So I like him on special teams. So I'm going to probably keep him just for that. He can be a good gunner. If I could actually sub him in as a gunner, I'd use him as a special teamer a lot. He's 6'3", 200, and he's fast. That'd be a good contain guy on kickoff, or a good gunner on punts, or a good wedge, or just some. I'd love to use this guy on kickoffs and kicker. Just not just kickoffs, but all 4 special team facets of the game. And then Cody, he's gonna probably go to the practice squad again this year. He's got good catching. He's big. It's just I don't have room for 8, and I'm not cutting him. I'm not cutting someone else to make room for a 64 overall receiver yet. Tight ends. This is my really good area right here. Gronk. Nothing to worry about there. I'll show you his. I had 3 players with 1,000 receiving yards, and Waller was one of them. He had 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns with me. This is his 2nd year with me. I signed him to a 2-year deal last offseason. Played well that year. Didn't really use him a whole lot because he was a 70 overall. He was kind of a project guy. He was still the number 3, occasionally number 2 guy. This year, as the number 2 and the number 1 when Gronk was gone, he exploded. In the playoffs, he had, I think, over 140 yards every game. He just flat out balled. So when you're balling, you're going to be getting paid. So he got a nice contract extension. And again, this is the 3+1 rule. 3 players get re-signed. You can tag 1, and then the rest have to hit the open market. Fun way to make free agency competitive. It's good. This is a rookie. He's my blocking tight end. That's what I like my number 3 tight end to do. He's a big physical dude who can block. That 75 run block is phenomenal, especially when I go those jumbo sets. It's really nice. Now, these are guys that... He was a practice squad guy. Jordan Miranda. I really like this prospect. 80 speed, 82 catch. You can see it all on your screen. That's not... It's the 78 run block. And he's a 6'6 target. So I actually might carry 4 tight ends on my roster because he's a cheap guy too. And then Reinhardt, I might move him to fullback. I'm considering it. Good run block, decent speed and acceleration. Okay catch. That's a good catching fullback right there. That's not bad at all for a fullback. Strength's not bad. These are good fullback attributes. So that's why I'm considering doing it. and I'm going to submit a request to move him to fullback and see if I could. But then, I have to kind of value on who I'm going to carry, who I'm going to cut, how all that's going to work in. So he's a guy I'm keeping my eye on this offseason for what I want to do. O-line, Morgan Moses, he was a free agent pickup. Solid, I liked him. He played well. This is a guy I drafted. Didn't look at his combine stats. The dude's weak as shit. Like, oh wait, no, hold on. This is a different guy. This guy's a project. He'll be good next year. Okay, because I focus trained linemen. I started that. So he'll be good in a year or two. This is the guy who's garbage, who I'm stronger. 75 strength. This dude probably benched like 5 reps at the combine. I could do more than that. Like, that's seriously, this dude probably put up 225 like 5 times, as I just said. Like, he's garbage. I'd move him to fullbacks. He's got a 68 speed. Like, I mean, shit. Imagine a guard at fullback. Like, this guy'd be like the greatest fullback of all time. He'd be the Fridge 2.0 almost. Nate Solder, he's done after this year. He's going to regress even more. He'll have an 81 strength, 80 run block, 84 pass. That's not what I want from a guard. I don't want him. He was a good 1-year filler for me. He did a good job as a bridge. So, controller's low. My apologies for that popping up on the screen. Okay, next, center. Ted Karras, brought him back. He was on the Patriots. I think he was on their practice squad this year, actually. Let him go because I couldn't re-sign him. Brought him back this year, and he's a really good project. I really like what he can do. So especially after focus training him 1 more year, he'll be pretty damn solid, I think. Trey Jackson, unfortunately, he's a great backup, but he's going to hit the open market. Not going to re-sign him. Solid player. Someone's going to be lucky to have him if they need a center. Joe Thuney, easily a stud. I worked up his development to a quick, and it'll be a superstar next year. Easily my best lineman. Really good guy. Montreal Darden, I believe he was a guy in my practice squad, another weak lineman. So it's, apparently I have naffy weak AF linemen. So then I have AJ Can. I could use better, but here's the thing. He's got a slow development. That's why I don't really like him. Other than that, like a good strength, good run block, good pass block. I mean, he just doesn't play well. I try and run at him, and the dude just lets DNs and outside backers just like walk all over him. And now Tom Henson, another guy I really like with that strength. I value strength. And then Lennox Edmonds, I don't really know much about. 89, holy Jesus. I do remember him now. Yeah, he's the guy that I'm going to be grooming with that 89 strength. I can easily spend a lot of time developing him and working him up, and he'll easily have an 84 run and pass block next year with like an 80 awareness. So that's something that I'm going to be really excited about with Lennox. Now, offensively, I'm not going to need to do much. It's a lot of just figuring out with who's already on the roster. I don't have anyone leaving as a free agent on offense, so I am perfect. My offense is set. I'm just going to need to get a backup quarterback, bring in a running back, and that's it. I don't have to worry about anything else, which is nice. Defensively, though, he was my rookie. I drafted him in the 2nd round. My first pick, I didn't have a first-round pick the first 2 years of the league. This guy was a 78 overall, developed. He's a tank. This guy's like J.J. Watt 2.0 from Wisconsin and everything. The guy's just a beast. He's set. Here's my backup, too. Not bad. I mean, he's not that strong, but he can get off blocks, and he's fairly agile and quick for being 308.66. These guys, it depends on what I like with them. Those are more guys that could be practice squad eligible guys. Won't really get into them. I run a hybrid in this one. So I like Trey Flowers. I wish I had him, update now where he has like an 85 overall. But I think I might use one of my final re-signs on Trey Flowers and work him up. The play rec and stuff gets up. That's a damn good guy right there already. So I'm pretty excited for what he can do potentially. Quentin Coples is going to be cut in the offseason. He was a 1-year filler. Did a pretty good job. I mean, I want to see his stats so I can tell you guys it. I think he had like 8 sacks, 13 tackles for loss. He had a really good year. I just would like that cap space. You know, I could get 2.3, what is it, 2.2 million in cap space, 2.29. So I'd rather have that. That's just me. I'd value that. I could easily get another solid player. D tackles, Malcolm Brown's a guy I'm going to bring back. He's another guy up for contract. So yeah, I really like it. I really like him. He doesn't. My D tackles weren't that good. I need to try and find another guy, but chances are there's not going to be a good one. Malcolm Brown was my starter. I've worked him pretty good. You know, it's just that finesse move. So he's with that overall boost, he was pretty decent. I mean, he's my nose guard, so it's not like he's going to sit there and generate 8 sacks a year. And then these guys are good role players, so I like my D tackles. That's something I really don't want to work and touch too much. You know, my D-line is something that it was horrible last year. This year it was pretty decent, so I might add a depth guy, add a new starting right end if I can't bring back Trey Flowers, but I really like my D-line. Okay, now on to linebackers. I overhauled this unit. I switched from a 4-3 to a 3-4, and I acquired this guy, Devin Kennard, from free agency. He had a great year. I mean, it might not show on the stats. We'll take a look at these. 6.5 sacks, 2 picks, 12 for a loss, 70 tackles. He played phenomenal, and there's so many plays where the guy had it in his hands, the receiver, the tight end, whatever, and he just laid the fucking wood on, excuse my language, laid the wood on the defender and just killed him. And so, excuse that, and so he just laid the wood on him, and he was a force. You know, I'm really excited for what he can do for me. I brought in Kyle Van Noy. He was already on New England, then he got worked up a bit, and then he was a free agent. I got him for pretty cheap, too. So I was excited. You know, he was a good special teams, and he came in for a few, you know, drives every here and there, came in for a couple plays, and he played well. Next at linebackers, Dante Hightower, I think, led my team in tackles and interceptions. I have to double check. No, not interceptions. Last year he did. 121 tackles, 5 sacks from an inside backer, 11 for a loss, a pick, 7 deflections. He had a phenomenal year. He's the centerpiece of my linebacking core. Then I brought in Sean Lee, who I'm going to cut and get that fat savings. That's this year's savings, the 9.63. Once I wait till re-signs and cut him, that goes up to 13.6. So I'm going to get almost $14 million in cap space free by cutting Sean Lee, and I'm going to try and bring him back on a smaller deal. But then a Landon Roberts, I've worked him up, you know, these last few years. He's doing pretty good now. Excuse me there. Just getting some water. And I really like what he's going to do for me next year as potentially either the number 2 linebacker or just that role-playing situational coverage guy, because he's pretty quick. So that's where we're at with the Landon Roberts. And then DJ Evans, just a practice squad guy. I liked what he did on the practice squad. Used him in practices. He's quick, agile. You know, everything else is bad. See if I can work him up with another year. Jamie Collins, obviously my highest overall, and him and Hightower are a beast. They're a beastly tandem. I really originally wanted Hightower and Collins at the outsides because no one can get outside, and that's a dominant pass rush. If I can find a good inside backer, I will absolutely move Hightower outside. But until then, Hightower stays inside. Jamie Collins had 7 sacks, 104 tackles, 4 picks. Just a great year. You know, they're great. Donald Trump, you know, it's either we're going to make the linebacking core great again. It's going to be great. Shea McClellan, I think if he's under contract again, I think he's done now because he had a 3-year deal with, he had a 3-year deal with New England. He's done now. I kept him because he was relatively cheap and he was a solid backup. So I was happy with his production. Onto the corner, my backfield is great. I focus trained secondary the first year. This year I did D-line to improve them. I'm going back to secondary. Malcolm Butler, 87 overall. Great. Just great. His coverages are amazing, so he can lock anyone down. Logan Ryan, another great lockdown corner. I play mainly zone, so these zone coverages are phenomenal. Good press. Then my nickel corner is an 83 overall right here. Good zone. He's athletic, physical. They can all come up and play the run too. That's my key in corners. I love physical press corners, so you got to have good press, good zone, and then good tackling. And then obviously play rec awareness, whatever. I love physical corners. I love big corners, and all these guys are under 6 feet, which sucks. They kind of lose some jump balls, but they hit you hard and knock that ball out. Now, my fourth corner is a 78 overall. I love that. He's got an 80 zone, 81 press. Like, if this is your fourth corner, you're set. When I go dime and have 6 DBs out there, they average an 80 overall because he's the only one under an 80. So I have one of the best secondaries in the game, which is a luxury. So that's why I'm considering he's up for contracts, and he's not asking. He's only asking for $3 million a year, which is great, I think. So I'm looking to potentially bring him back and just solidify my secondary. Whoa. Going back, Terrence Mitchell. He's a good fit. I mean, if that's your 5th string, hell, that's a great 5th string. 83 zone, I mean, 95 agility. I'm going to probably bring him back, too, to be honest. And then Jonathan Jones, 95 speed guy. I like him, but he was a terrible returner. And maybe I could move him to a safety, but 5'9". Don't really like him like as a safety. That's too small. Too small as a corner. And I can't use him as like a rusher on special teams because Madden doesn't like to listen when I formation sub. So be it. Devin McCourty, unfortunately this will be his last season. I'm not going to cut him. I love D-Mac. And he's a pretty damn good safety still. 87 speed's not bad. It's going to regress by 2, I know, but so it'll be an 85 with an 87 zone. That's not that bad. I actually thoroughly enjoy it. So we'll keep him here for a year while I work on either Demarius Travis, gopher player, or kick Harmon over to the free and sign a strong. So I need to find a safety. Whether it's one of these 3 guys, Myrick, Lemon, or if only Myrick had that 4.2 like 4.29 speed he ran and had like a 95 speed, that'd be pretty legit. If only he had that, but I gotta work on that. I gotta get a safety. Harmon is good though. I've worked him up. He's a really good cover guy. So I have a great cover secondary. Hence why I always have top interceptions. Fortunately, Gostowski's done. This is just a guy in the practice squad just because I felt like having a frick kicker. Not that bad. Gostowski, I really like him, but that kick power is going to drop to an 89. I can find some bum for cheaper that is easier and that's cheaper and can kick further. Accuracy 95, yet I still shank kicks, so I'd rather get kick power. Punter Ryan Allen, I really like Ryan Allen. I want to bring him back, but I'm not paying $5 million a year in the re-signs and wasting a re-sign on a fucking punter. Draft pick. So looking out to the draft, I have the 29th pick. I don't have a 3rd round pick. This draft has a lot of depth. I'm looking to acquire like a 3rd and a 5th. I want to get some extra picks. There's some really good late round guys that I could steal and that could be significant contributors. Maybe not necessarily this upcoming season, but maybe next season, the following season after that. But some could even contribute this season, not start, but just get some time and actually do meaningful work for me. So that's kind of where I'm at. Off-season plans, so my top goal is to get an inside backer. Inside backer in a role. I don't really have any needs. I just need to retool. I'm going to have about $20 million in cap space. Actually, I lied. I'm going to have about 28.5. I think I had the number here. It was 26.7 after I do my cuts. 26.7 million in cap space. when you don't have any needs is great. Now, I'm going to get into one thing for my outlook before I head out here. This video is going way too long. I'm really pissed at myself about that. Now, this doesn't show accurately necessarily because how Madden works, because it's stupid. The guys' contracts who are up next year and guys who are going to be free agents this offseason blend together, but I know who's who. Okay? So, they actually do a good job of sorting it. So, I think this is, yeah, okay. Yeah, whatever. So not this offseason, but the following. Robinson is up for a contract. Deron Harmon's up for a contract. Gronk is up for a contract. AP, but he's being cut. AJ Cann up for a contract. Cyrus Jones up for a contract. Devin McCourty up for a contract. Sean Lee, but he's done. Joe Thuney, Josh Doxson. So I have the main guys I'm going to get are Doxson, Thuney, Jones, and Gronk. And then Harmon might even have to hit free. You know, I got a ton of guys up in 2 years. So I can't sign none of these 1 year bullshit deals. And I'm going to have a lot of cap space in 2 years. So I can't do a lot to mess with it and potentially lose out on key guys like Gronk, Doxson, Thuney, Cyrus Jones. I can't do that. But other than that, this video is going to come to an end. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, you can leave a comment down below. I had one last video. That was pretty legit. Made my day. Other than that, I will be back with a season preview and off-season recap video here in a few days once the off-season activities have wrapped up. In 4th and 1, we advanced to the first week of free agency. Super pumped. Had about $23 million in cap space. Gonna get some key guys, and I'm really pumped and excited about that. Other than that, this is Pats Nation signing off. Pats Nation signing off. I will catch you later.